Welcome back to the Total Potential podcast. I'm sitting here with Erin. If you would, go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody about who you are, the different brands that you rep, and just talk a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Erin Coburn. I am a artist, touring artist, pre-COVID, singer-songwriter, producer, engineer, and then also I am an artist for Strandberg Guitars. I work with a lot of different companies actually that have supported my music career throughout the years, like DR Strings. There's Gravity Picks, West Town Audio, Bad Cat Amplifiers. There's so many people that I love to work with. So yeah, and I'm primarily a rock artist, but I as far as producing and engineering goes, I like to branch out into all kinds of different genres.
Yeah, and you're going to school for that, correct?
Yes, up here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Absolutely, and we're kind of in the same area where you come from too, and I really saw what you were doing, and you're doing it to that next level, taking the serious route of school, so what has school brought to you now that you hadn't had previously?
It's brought a lot of like in studio experience as far as working with other artists. Like I've been in the studio lots of times, but it's been for my projects, like for like what I want versus like I'm calling the shots and everything versus now, I have the opportunity to sit in on all these different sessions and they're not my projects. So I'm setting up microphones. I'm asking the artist what they want. I'm pressing some of the buttons. I'm basically like an intern, for a lot of these sessions, and it's a different seat to sit in. But it's getting me a lot of experience as far as how I'm going to run my own studio when I come back home so I can record not only myself, but other artists when I'm off the road.
Yeah, and you're building your own fantasy factory from the ground where, with my studio, it was a machine shop. It was a gas station at one point, even like a milk depot, even like the classic milk and everything.
Yes.
And so, I'm coming from concrete and you're really building it from scratch, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, having that foundation though is still good because you have something you can see the vision, versus ours. Like all I have is a plot of land to look at. My dad saying, "Here are the plans."
Yeah, and to make it specifically for that too, where for video production and stuff, the audio isn't the biggest deal because you're obviously post-production the audio, maybe taking people to your studio, right? Where I see, that as being a great opportunity. And to go into more of your background, what was your inspiration getting into music? You mentioned your father, you mentioned, how important your family has been in your life. Would you say that has been the primary inspiration of you getting into music, or what has that been for you?
My parents definitely influenced me. But when I was younger, I never thought I would be like a professional musician. I thought I was going to be a neurobiologist. That was the main goal. I'm like, yes, I watched The Big Bang Theory. Amy Farrah Fowler from The Big Bang Theory is a neurobiologist. I was like, that's so cool. I'm going to do
spirit
that.
Animal. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is great. And then and then all of a sudden, like when I was like 7, I had always been interested in guitar because my dad had an acoustic guitar that I took over when I was 2. He never used to play it, and I was like, all right, this is mine now. So
Yep.
I took that over, and then when I was 7, my parents got me my own acoustic guitar that actually fit my size. It wasn't gigantic, but I got that in some lessons, and it was cool. But the main thing, my parents always used to have these Blu-ray DVDs on of Joe Satriani live in concert and Trans-Siberian Orchestra live in concert and Alice in Chains and Prince. They always had these live shows on from DVD on the TV. And I think seeing that was just whoa, that's kind of cool, but I never thought I would do it. And I guess it clicked. After I got my 3rd guitar teacher, I went through quite a few. I wasn't the best student. I didn't want to practice, but all I wanted to do was write songs and make up my own songs. But when I got my 3rd guitar teacher, his name's John Riddell, which his birthday was a couple days ago. So happy birthday to him.
Shout out.
Yes. he was he really understood me and like what I wanted to do. And he didn't just like say, oh, learn this and then come back and let me see how you did. It was more like, I'm going to teach you the blues and how to like improvise and play what you're feeling, you know, and actually get it out, and how to speak with guitar without words,
Yeah.
you know, like that's what really like just, you know, made me take it and run. And he took me to some of his gigs when I was younger, and I was just like, whoa, you can make money by doing this. And it just like, boom, clicked. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, but it was actually funny. My mom told me that I used to say I wanted to be a showgirl because like Prince, like when I would watch Prince's DVDs, he had like, these showgirls that would like dance and stuff. And I would tell my mom, like, I want to do that. She was like, no, you don't. So I guess in a way though, I'm kind of a showgirl now because, you know, I run my own show.
Exactly. And I think it's interesting, you know, similarly to my background too, where we weren't pushed into medicine, right? We were pushed into the entertainment business. It's like, what is this? You know, like we get to
Yeah.
do this, right? Like it's so
Mhm.
odd to have supportive parents in the media and entertainment space, you know, and that
For
we're taking advantage of that. And I had a similar experience too, where me jumping around from different instructors and really not being able to connect with them, and
Mhm.
you know, me never learning the ability to really play by ear, right? Like I could learn the notes, I could learn, you know, reading sheet music to a certain extent, you know, like digging up tabs. Like I probably know like 20 uh covers of, you know, drum music. And that's why I was almost intimidated by, you know, having you on, where I was thinking for the past 2 weeks, like, man, I just need to set up my drum set, right? You've already got your guitar all mic'd up. But it's like unless we like came together on like a specific cover that I
Mhm.
know, I can't really play by ear that well, right? Like being an only child, like not really having anybody to jam with and living in the middle of the
Yeah.
country, I play way too loud, right? Like I'm not, you know, like I'm not like what's the word? Like having that studio experience, right? Of
Yeah.
like, you know, taking it seriously. And now, you know, years later that I have all this recording equipment now, I used to go to Sam Ash and, you know, go to the manager and like make like a dream list of like all the different recording equipment that I would need, you know, in order to hear myself back. And then now I'm like waking up to go like, oh crap, like now I actually have all this equipment. I should start, you know, getting back into my own content, right? That
Yes. Yeah. Of
yeah, you
course.
know, and I think you were going, you know, down this road as far as other than your parents, who are the people on your team that help you be successful, right? That you are a bit of a one-man band in a sense where you are not only doing the talent side, but you're also doing the technical side, right? That have you
Yes.
had uh other than your instructor, anyone else that has been a big influence, or maybe a professor at the school or something, you know, that any
Yeah.
other people that have helped you be successful?
Yeah, there's so many I want to name. Oh gosh, a lot of my fans have actually helped me, not as far as like the technical side, but just as far as like um, the the side where they inspire and motivate me. You know, if I want to do something, they're like, "Yeah, do it. We're for it." You know, like I think that's amazing. You know, and one of my fans, his name's Ray Edling. He created a whole fan page for me, and it just blew up. And now it's got like it's got a lot of followers in a short amount of time, and they've been amazing. But my producer of my second album, Gary Vincent, he has been amazing too. He's helped me a lot on the technical side of things. And I'll call him up and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm doing this, and I don't know what to do, or some help me out with this, or what should I do with this?" I mean, he's a huge instigator when it comes to buying new gear too, which is why I need to limit myself from talking to him because,
Oh yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
just had
I
that
have a meeting.
podcast with Zach the last week, and he's sending
Yeah,
me photo, you know, links to B&H photo of like $10,000 cameras, and I'm like, all right, man, like this would be great, you know. But
yes,
it's a
it's tough.
process. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So yeah, but second album producer, and also my third album producer and engineer, Mike Brown. He's also one of my professors here at the Cleveland School of Audio Recording. Him and Chris, they both work in at the studio that I study in. Mike owns it, but they both have been insane. Like they're my professors, and I know like normally people don't text their professors, but I have both of their numbers. So like when I need help, like I'll be able to text them. Well, I think that was a mistake because for them to give me their number, because I constantly text them. I'm like, okay, I got a question about this, but like they have been so helpful, and like they answer every single one of my questions. And I mean, honestly, they've been a huge driving force with me diving into the technical side of things.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you're getting a lot out of it. You know, that like before now there was a mechanic up at the shop, right? And you know, he would hire me, and he wanted me to ask questions, because if I didn't ask questions then something would go wrong. Right? So it's like having those mentors that encourage questions versus, because obviously if they wouldn't, they're really not made out to be a professor, right? That it's like they're there, you know, to be able to provide that to you. So, you know, talking about, you know, your short-term goals with this second album, talk a little bit about that and how that is going. Or just
the second album,
or what are you working on now with your short-term goals, like besides the second album, like in general, like what are we looking forward to?
Yeah. So I have 3 albums out right now. And then I just released a new single a little bit ago. So I'm working on more singles. Currently, I've been writing like pretty much almost a song every other day, or a song a day. It depends on like the week, but I've been writing a lot. So I'm hoping to get this huge arsenal of songs that I can start releasing a song every other week or every week. You know, kind of like if you know who Russ is.
Yes,
people talk about Russ and how. Yeah, and how
he
labels,
obviously
like,
has a hard time though in the industry. Everybody kind of gives Russ a hard time.
Yes, they give him a lot, but that's because, you know, he's completely independent.
Yeah,
and
multi-dimensional for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he does all of his own stuff. He's like, I mean, I respect that, and that's kind of like, that's where I want to go. You know, I want to be able to like put out a bunch of music, and like you said, like people think, oh, you know, you shouldn't put out that much music at one time, or like that, like you need to give it more time. But for us smaller, like independent artists, you know, our audience's attention spans are like 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a song. So, you know, think about, like, that's so short. If you're not in front of people for like, you know, that 2 minutes and 30 seconds or that short amount of time, they're going to forget about you. So like, you know, why not put out as many songs as possible? Because if something catches, then great. And if it doesn't, then it's just more content that's out there. Because like the big artists can do that whole let's space it out thing, you know, and people won't forget about them because they have a large following, you know, that's still like, you know, is still on board, you know. But with smaller independent artists, you know, it's, you know, you're always trying to grow. I mean, we're all trying to grow, but releasing as many things as possible is the goal here.
Yeah, with the singles. And I think, you know, to be able to do it and then schedule it where you have somewhat of a lead time to where if, you know, something comes up or you're not able to create that, or burnout too. I mean, how has that affected you that now, you know, with the virus, you know, we're at home more, you know, we have significantly more time to create, you know, that how has that affected you as far as your burnout, or, you know, has that affected you at all that you have had so much more time?
No, actually, I haven't really burned out. It's made me more inspired because I have, you know, like when I'm on the road and I'm writing, it's tough because I'm working off of my MacBook, which is cool. But like Pro Tools and working off of a MacBook is like the worst, you know, because like it's constantly gives you those error messages like, okay, you can't do this, you can't, like, but I have, like, I'm able to stay home and work on my iMac, which I like have it. It's a pretty pimped out computer.
Oh yeah.
And it's for my recording studio that I'm building when I get back home, but I'm able to work on something that gives me complete free reign with whatever I want to do, you know. And it's there's so much at my fingertips with this. So really, I'm inspired every night. And I live with my drummer. He's my roommate. He's not here right now. He comes back today, but he's with family. But I live with him, so you know, it's nice. I have someone who's like who might be in the other room, you know, and I'm making a song. He'll come out and be like, yeah, you know, like we get hyped up.
Yeah.
Like this is just like, it's a really like hyped situation. I love it. So there's constantly inspiration here, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be able to do that.
No, and I like seeing that, right? That I feel like there are so many people that don't have that support system, right? And I think you are an example of someone with that support system and then being able to just ascend, right? That
Yeah.
it's just the right mix, right? That
Yeah.
uh being able to have someone there to where whether or not it's brainstorming or otherwise, they're able to help you out with that.
Yeah. Or
So
just energy.
yeah, energy. Well, and that's the big thing, like with a vibe, that it's like no amount of money can afford a vibe, really. You know?
Exactly. That's so true. Literally, like my one of my goals, like my long-term goals in life, is to um, buy a house somewhere, I don't know where yet, but buy a house where I can have a bunch of my creator friends, whether they be producers, engineers, artists, guitarists, multi-instrumentalists, whatever, like as
Yeah.
long as they're like in the creative industry, and we can all live in a house together, like a big house,
Oh
and we
yeah.
all just like live. That way we have each other to pull from, like, hey, I need some guitar in my project, can you come here and we'll do this, or hey, I just need someone to come listen to this, or we just have a bunch of like just creative people in one house, because I think
Oh
that
yeah.
would just be so inspiring. But yeah, that's the goal, is to create almost like a collective in a sense.
I call it a Motown 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Where like it would be like a group of people, because that's what happened with Motown, right? It was like a group of people all living within the same area or street, and that they all
Yes.
were able to collaborate at any time. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with my studio as well, where co-living, co-working, almost like an
Yes.
RV park in a sense, where
Hmm.
obviously living in different things, but yeah, I mean that's exactly the vision, right? That how
Yes.
because then once people get inspired by what you're playing, they're just going to walk into your room, start playing the lick that they got inspired by you playing, and then it's just going to be through osmosis, right? That
Exactly. It's such a good thing to pull from.
yeah. And from like the
Have you?
business
Oh, good.
standpoint, I'm like learning that, right? That like
Yeah.
after these 4 years where, the music business, there really is no way to force the music, right? That like it has to come from like a very organic standpoint for all the stars to align. That it's like it's almost like chemistry. Like I don't even know how to explain it.
No, I
Um
totally agree. Have you seen what is it called? There's two things. Have you seen the Brockhampton documentary that's on YouTube?
no. I will
Okay, so do you know who Brockhampton is?
no. Nope.
Okay, so they're like a rap collective, like a hip hop collective. They have very, very interesting songs. I love them. I love them. But they all met on a Kanye West fan site or something, and then like they
Mm.
lived in completely different parts of the world, and then they moved in together in this like really small apartment. There's like 14 guys, and they like all draw energy from each other, but they're all living in this like the documentary showed they're living in this like tiny apartment, and there's just all these guys, and there's like maybe 4 rooms in this thing, so there's people sleeping in the hallways. There's like it's just and but like honestly, it just looks so awesome because the energy's always there. I mean, I'm sure there's cons to it, but that's one of the things that inspired me to do this whole like house with multiple like with lots of creators in it. And also, have you seen the Dreamville documentary with J. Cole
Nope.
and
Nope.
okay,
I
so
Those are two things that, and that's what I like about podcasts where, for all these years I've been getting on phone calls with people for 45 minutes at a time, and I'm like, man, I
yeah.
wish I was recording this so then I could go back into my own podcast and be like, all right, so Erin said this at the 15 or 18-minute mark, and
Yeah.
I'm able to go back and be like, all right, like around this time she mentioned that. And you know what I watched last night? The Paris Hilton documentary. That it was
Really,
pretty.
I've
Have
heard
you
good
seen
things
that?
about.
It's
No, I
pretty.
haven't
It's
yet.
pretty tough that her parents sent her off to like a corrections camp basically, and she was put in
Gosh,
isolation. She would run away, and then they would beat her in order to like show an example to the other kids, and like
jeez.
other boyfriends in her life that obviously took advantage of her and made her feel bad. And it's just like documentaries really show a side of people that we never knew of, right? And it gives that extra dimension. And I think podcasts are a certain part of that as well.
Oh,
Kind of
absolutely. Give it
showing
a different look.
behind that. And I was also watching like the Comedy Store documentary as well in the past few days. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and
Okay,
that
okay.
the Comedy Store, and Joey Diaz and Bobby Lee, and like all the drama with Carlos, and it's
I'll have to
just,
check that out.
yeah. And like I was a big Jim Carrey fan, growing up with The
Oh,
Mask, and
yes. I remember
Ace
watching his
Ventura,
movies.
and like that's like partly where my personality comes from. But then I like find out that Jim Carrey really didn't like those characters, and that he was
Yeah,
kind of like not a part of that direction of his comedy, right? That a lot
yeah.
of creatives have to kind of do or at least they used to, at least, right? Like now with being independent, you're able to
Mhm.
more so dictate, what you want to do. But have you dealt with any of that, like on your tour, or like different people, or any obstacles, right? Like you were talking about editing on your laptop and how that was a challenge. Was there any other challenges that you met on tour or through your career that you could help other people that are trying to do what you're trying to do, learn from your, not mistakes, but learn from your experience, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been tons of challenges. Um, Gosh, I don't even know where to start. Some of them would be to take everything with a grain of salt. I mean, we were using like, not to get into it, but there was a booking agent that we were using, just like freelancing. He wasn't my booking agent. We
Yeah,
didn't want
no
him to be my
names.
booking.
We're just talking about generally speaking. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and long story short, he tried to rope us into him being my manager, and he was starting to tell people he was my manager when we never signed anything. And then he canceled one of my shows without telling me,
In
and
retribution or something like that. Yeah.
and because we said that we didn't want to, we just wanted to keep using him for booking. We didn't want him to be my manager,
Yeah.
and yeah, he canceled one of my shows, and it was. I mean, the venue and I though are very tight now. We both thought we both talked about. We were like, look, that was not us that canceled it and all that. So. But we found out through Facebook. It was like Erin's show is canceled. I'm like, it is. Why? So that was really rough. So I would just say, like, make sure you have people that you trust on your team, and even if you think you trust someone, just like always have that small little bit of doubt in your head, like make sure, like, because you're gonna be the person that looks out for you the most, like you, and like if you have your parents on board or someone that's like a really good friend or family, like those are good people to have on your team, because there's that built-in trust that's
Yeah.
usually there. But yeah, definitely that. Other challenges I faced on the road, of course, have been some. I love all my fans. There's been a couple fans that are like, this is weird. I've had they weren't really fans, but like getting off of the stage. If you're a young woman in the industry, just make sure you have your band around you, or someone, or like a
Security.
bodyguard or
Yeah.
something around you, like after you. I mean, if you can't afford security, then again, have your band around you, or just travel in groups, because don't, like, once you get off that stage to go to the merch table, do not walk by yourself. I've made that mistake twice, and I paid for it. So just, yeah,
No, that's
being
interesting.
careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that, I don't know. It's kind of like you don't want to break the fourth wall to be like talking about fans, but like you can really tell, when artists are uncomfortable, and it's
Yeah.
awkward because you want to be nice, but then at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like it's your own safety and that
Yes.
boundaries, right? And
Yeah, and most of my fans do respect that boundary. They're
yeah,
amazing people. There's just a couple people that have been at my shows that were just like, this is skeptical. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, most of them are very, very respectful of boundaries, and they're great people.
Oh yeah, I love it. So what would you say are your long-term goals? Like I know you obviously talked about your studio and different things like that. Like, obviously we're dealing with the virus right now, so we're just kind of, building, but like where do you see yourself in, the next few years?
Definitely touring again once COVID is at bay. But yeah, definitely being on the road a lot more, and releasing again songs every other week. I want to be have releasing as much content as possible, and keeping up with that. And also Twitch streaming too. I want to
Yeah.
become what is it? A partner in Twitch. I'm an affiliate. I just became an affiliate with Twitch a little bit ago, but yeah, keeping up with like streaming, even when I'm on the road, like I honestly, it's something I've really enjoyed. I did streaming a lot before the pandemic on Facebook, but now I do it on Facebook and Twitch, and I love it. It's just another way I can connect with fans.
And how can people find you on Twitch?
So Twitch is my alter ego. It's not exactly Erin Coburn Music. I just changed it. It's called Hen. It's H and then 3 and then N, Hen Official. And I did that because I'm doing completely different things on there from like what Erin Coburn Music does. It's different kinds of music, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, with creating, I write songs on stream. I edit, I mix, I master, I do all kinds of stuff. There are a few performance streams on Twitch, but most of the performance streams are on Facebook under Erin Coburn Music.
Nice.
But which was really exciting because it's a different brand, and to me, I feel like there's two sides of me. And I've always wanted to express that other side. So with Twitch, I kind of have that opportunity to express that other side and be that other like person that I am. Not that I'm like, split personalities or anything, but there's a different side that I've wanted to share with people for a while. And Twitch is that outlet that I have.
And I'll be listing all of those links down in the description as well that you'll send me. And I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
How can people find you? Like just Erin Coburn?
Yeah, so on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, it's just Erin Coburn Music, ErinCoburn Music. And then my website where my shows are posted is erincoburn.com or erinCoburnmusic.com. It goes to the same place. And then Twitch is Hen Official, and then the E in Hen is a 3.
Awesome. And I'm excited to jump on those Twitches, and I saw the promos, and it's like I'm definitely ready to check it out, and I hope everybody else is too. So we'll definitely be promoting that on the story, and having you back out. And we live so close together as well, so mi casa es tu casa. To be able to put something together and just jamming.
When I come back home, we gotta jam or figure out something.
I gotta learn how to play by ear, right? Like I don't know if I just need to like start laying down a basic beat and then you start just jamming to that beat that I'm playing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, or I need to talk to your drummer, like because he's but I guess you're in Cleveland now, right?
I'm in Cleveland. Yeah, he comes up. He comes back tomorrow morning. But
where is he from? Oh, Columbus. Okay.
Columbus,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like that's what I almost feel like I need to do is like talk to another drummer to then figure out like what my lapse is, right? Like to learn more about my own self, because my dad plays drums and he primarily plays by ear, right? So it's kind of like the difference. But I definitely think that me playing drums is in my future, and it's a passion thing, right?
Yes.
That
if you have a vision, then definitely carry it out. And talking to people, about it. There's always more to learn. So.
Oh yeah. And like I just play like a little bit of System of a Down, Weezer. The Strokes, the White Stripes.
Nice.
Those are kind of like all in my my vein of existence with drumming. But this was great. I appreciate you coming out, and I hope everybody has enjoyed the podcast. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and definitely check out all the links down below. And if you didn't already know, this was Anthony Marshall Prugel, and as always, we'll see you. Thanks.